Well, Husky fans, it happened once again as the Oregon Ducks came to town, and to say the least, it didn't go well for the Huskies in their blackout game as they lost to the Oregon Ducks 45-24, marking the 10th straight loss to the Ducks, a decade-long losing streak. So we got some highlights for you. Not too many Husky ones, but we'll show them to you anyway. ESPN's College Game Day was on site for the showdown between number 2 Oregon and number 16 Washington, and fans crowded Red Square in the wee hours of the morning to show their Husky pride on national television. 7 hours later, the fans had moved into Husky Stadium, decked out in all black in the hopes of seeing UW take down the hated Oregon Ducks. It wouldn't be an easy task for the Huskies, though, as Oregon quarterback Marcus Mariota made them pay with both his arm and legs. Much, much more from Mariota in this one. After both teams failed to score on their opening drives, it's Byron Marshall just breaking the plane to score the touchdown and put the Ducks on the board first, 7-0. But the Dogs would answer back on their next drive as Austin Safarian-Jenkins goes airborne for the Keith Price pass and brings it down to knot up the score at 7. Bishop Sankey had his usual monster day, finishing with 167 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, but added this costly fumble to give Oregon the ball back. And the Ducks would capitalize on this turnover as Mariota rolls to his right and finds Braylon Addison for the 4-yard TD pass. Ducks back on top by a touchdown now, 14-7. About 4 minutes later, the Husky D parts like the Red Sea for Byron Marshall as he waltzes his way into the end zone. Oregon would take a 21-7 lead into halftime. After both teams traded 60-yard touchdowns and a field goal each in the third, here's Sankey breaking off a 25-yard touchdown run to bring Husky Stadium back to life. UW down by just a touchdown now, entering the fourth quarter. But Mariota wasn't done yet, and would answer with a rushing TD of his own, knifing his way through the Husky defense for 6 more points. Ducks starting to pull away now, on top by 2 touchdowns with just under 14 minutes left in the game. Just for good measure, Mariota tacks on another touchdown pass to his ridiculous stats on the day, hitting Addison in the end zone once again. Score is now at Ducks 45, Huskies 24. And sadly, that's all she wrote, folks, as Oregon bests the Huskies yet again. Final score, Oregon 25, UW 24. Alright guys, so there we have it. Huskies wore their blackout uniforms tonight, but just looked like they were doing a little mourning for the decade-long losing streak they've racked up against the Ducks. This is as close as we've seen the Huskies come this far, Kevin, as sad as that might sound. But so how close do you think we are to sort of going toe-to-toe with Oregon, maybe matching their skill?
Right. I mean, matching Oregon is always going to be a challenge. They're one of the best programs in the Pac-12 and in the country, so not an easy task. But I do think that today maybe wasn't as far apart as the score might indicate compared to some of the games in the past 10 years or so when they've lost by similar margins. I think the teams were pretty well matched today, other than the fact that Oregon had Marcus Mariota. I finished with 456 total yards, 4 touchdowns. Not a bad afternoon. He was just pretty indescribably good today. And I mean, if he keeps playing like that, even if Oregon is missing its number 1 running back, its tight end, its number 1 receiver, it's not a whole lot of teams are going to be able to beat them with Mariota playing like that.
That's right. We basically did see the Marcus Mariota show on full display this afternoon. But despite his dominance, Sark said he was proud of the way his team hung in there.
That's a good team we lost to. It's been back-to-back weeks of playing 2 really good football teams, and I think our kids have showed a great deal of competitive spirit. I think that they've shown that we can play with those guys. You know, we played with Stanford for 60 minutes, and we played with these guys for 3.5 quarters. Unfortunately, we just couldn't get over the hump against 2 really good teams, but that doesn't take away from our football team. We're a good football team.
So we heard Stark talk a little bit about this team's resiliency right there in that little soundbite. So Tukney, even though we've lost these past 2 games to Stanford and Oregon, you have to be encouraged by the way we're playing against these tough teams, right?
Definitely. Against Stanford, the Huskies brought them down to the final play of the game, outgained them by more than 200 yards on offense. In terms of Oregon, they hung with them probably the best they have in this past 10 years. In terms of keeping it tight on defense, and they kind of wore down towards the fourth quarter, but I think that they wore down a lot later than they would have in the past before Steve Sarkisian put in his no-huddle offense.
All right, guys, so looking ahead to the Huskies' next opponent, we got the Arizona State Sun Devils coming up on the road. Kevin, what do you expect to see in that game from Arizona State?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be another tight one like these last 2 the Huskies have played. Arizona State's another team that likes to go up-tempo. I run a lot of plays, so we'll see that again. They got running back Marion Grice, been a touchdown machine for them this year, and they got a big wideout, Jalen Strong, who's been coming on strong, I guess, in the last few weeks. He's been playing well for them, so they'll give the Huskies defense another challenge.
So Tukney, at this point in the season, is this game against Arizona State a must-win?
Definitely. If they lose this one, they're going to be dropping to 1-3 in Pac-12, and 7-6 is definitely looking like another possibility.
Well, Husky fans, it looks like we'll have to wait another year to get our shot at the Ducks, but until then, we'll see you next time here in the Husky Highlight Show. I'm Tyler Hartung here with Kevin Dowd and Tukney to win. Thanks for watching.